All right, Marty Biron joins me. And Marty, not every single team can have Connor Hellebuck backstopping them into the playoffs and throughout the playoffs. So I guess my question for you, looking at Stanley Cup contenders right now, the teams that you think could actually be there at the end, whose goaltending do you trust the least?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because and one of the better team in the the best team in the Eastern Conference is the Washington Capitals. Do you trust Logan Thompson to be that guy? Like he's
Team Canada didn't. They didn't
Team
even pick him
Canada
for the
didn't,
team.
they didn't pick him. Charlie Lindgren gets himself a really nice extension, but that's more as a 1B backup. So you look at the goalies in the East, right? You look at the Vasilevsky, the Shesterkin, the Bobrovsky, even Stolarz with Toronto. I'm like, okay, Stolarz having a great year. He won a cup last year. He saw that experience. Logan Thompson, saw the experience through the Vegas ice as well, but can he do that? Can he put a team on his back? He's looked good, but he's not played that heavy schedule. They've been doing this rotation in Washington. You play, I play. You play, I play. You get to the playoffs, you're playing every night. Are you going to be ready for that? So I have a concern when it comes to Washington goaltending, not because I don't think they're good enough, just because they haven't done it as a number one.
Durability and the experience.
He hasn't done it all year. It hasn't been all on his shoulders all year. And now it will be. And that is a big difference. And if all of a sudden game one doesn't go well, how do you recover for game two? Because if you play a game in the regular season doesn't go well, you're not playing the next one. You can kind of go to practice and recover. That's a totally different thing. So I think Washington is one that I'll put a big question mark just because you haven't done it. You need to show me you can do it.
I was thinking you were going to say the Edmonton Oilers because that's been a huge topic of conversation lately with Skinner and Pickard. These guys obviously brought him there last year. Goaltending wasn't a huge issue, I guess, when it came to the postseason, but it has been this year. Are you okay with what's going on there right now?
I'm not okay.
Okay.
I'm not okay with the Oilers. Though, look, Stuart Skinner did last year. Started bad and then recovered in the second half, went to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. So, can it happen again? Yes, but it hasn't been the same progression this year. The second half hasn't been as good. Although you watched the game on Thursday night and he played really well against the Canadians, and you're like, oh, maybe that's the type of game that he needs to get going. So I would like the Oilers to at least get an insurance policy in that before the 3 o'clock trade deadline. But if that's not happening, I think that I have question marks. The same thing I have question marks for the Vegas Golden Knights. Look, Adin Hill, he did win a cup, but it hasn't been as smooth. And Ilya Samsonov is a wild card. You never know what you're going to get. And Vegas is making moves, and Vegas is trying to get themselves back to winning a cup like they did 2 years ago. So I'm saying Edmonton and Vegas are probably the two in the West that I'm going to put a big question mark on.
And as an aside, especially for Oilers fans, when you start pointing out their goaltending, they'll turn and say, well, how about the defense? I mean, that's one of these things, too, where we always look at the goalies and say they need to shore up because look at the goals against. Sometimes you got to look at the defense and suggest, well, maybe if the defense was better, the goalie, we wouldn't have so much of a spotlight on.
And maybe that's the time to maybe push that a little bit right now if you're in Edmonton. Let's play better defensively. Because at some point you may say, okay, we got to totally change everything and try to win games 5-4, 6-5, which doesn't really work.
Doesn't happen in the playoffs
That
either,
doesn't
right?
work in the National Hockey League. But maybe, if you can't find a better structure defensively, maybe you got to go the other way. But I think they're still trying to go through it. I was concerned when Chris Knobloch says we're a fragile team.
Yeah.
But I think being fragile usually starts by worrying about giving up goals. But worrying about giving up goals is goaltending. So when you say we're fragile, usually it starts with, I'm not sure about our goalies.
All right. Thanks, Marty.